Welcome to the mini book podcast, African American Books Edition.
It's great to be here.
Today, we're going to be talking about a truly remarkable piece of work. It's titled The Black Utopians, Searching for Paradise and the Promised Land in America by Aaron Robertson.
It is a fascinating book. It's this incredible mix of history, philosophy, and even personal memoir that really challenges how you think about the whole American experiment.
It really does. Now, before we get into it, we just want to thank you for listening. And please do consider subscribing for future content.
Yeah, and we should also state, just for clarity, that the voices you're hearing are from AI, but all the content, all the ideas we're talking about, come straight from the book itself.
Absolutely. We think this is a fantastic way to learn about African American history.
And if you find this conversation interesting, and we think you will, we would really encourage you to go out and purchase the book. Support the author, Aaron Robertson, directly.
It's a beautiful text. It really deserves a spot on your shelf.
For sure.
So let's get into it. The word utopia. When I hear that, my brain immediately goes to, science fiction.
Right. Shiny cities, flying cars.
Exactly. Everyone's in matching silver jumpsuits, and there's no more sickness or traffic.
The classic dream of a perfect world. But that's not what Aaron Robertson is talking about here at all.
No, and that's, I think, the first big shift you have to make when you open this book. He isn't talking about a fantasy land.
Not in the slightest. He's doing something much heavier with that word. For him, utopia isn't some finished paradise. He uses this philosophical idea. He calls it the negation of the negation.
Okay, let's pause right there. Negation of the negation. That sounds like a grad school seminar. Can we break that down?
It sounds complicated, but it's actually a very powerful, very simple idea. Think of it like this.
Okay.
If the reality for Black people in America was defined by a negation, slavery, Jim Crow, racism, basically denying their very humanity.
The world saying you are nothing.
Precisely. Then a Black utopia is the act of negating that negation. It's the double negative. It's creating a space that says, no, we are something.
Wow. So it's not about perfection. It's about pushback. It's about creating a space to just exist.
To exist outside the crushing weight of white supremacy. Robertson calls it a perpetual opening, or even a rehearsal.
A rehearsal for a better life.
Exactly. It's not a destination. It's the constant act of trying to live differently. It's a verb.
And the book anchors this idea in a real place. We have to talk about Promised Land, Tennessee.
And that spelling is so important, right?
Yes. I want to be clear for everyone listening. It's Promised Land. Singular, not Promised Land.
Promised Land feels like something that's given to you, a gift.
Right. But Promised Land sounds like a pact, a pledge that people made to each other.
And this place was founded in 1870.
That date is so significant. I mean, that is just 5 years after the Civil War ended.
Just 5 years. It puts you right in the middle of Reconstruction.
And Reconstruction is one of those periods that I think a lot of us sort of glossed over in history class. Can you set the stage? What was it actually like then?
It was chaotic and full of contradictions. From about 1865 to 1877, you had this brief window where the federal government was trying to enforce the new rights of formerly enslaved people.
So you had Black Americans voting, holding office.
Yes. For the first time in history, it was a moment of just incredible hope. But, and this is the key, it was met with just unbelievably violent backlash.
The KKK was on the rise.
Right. So eventually those federal protections got pulled back.
Yeah.
And you slide into the Jim Crow era.
Right.
But right in that hopeful, dangerous moment, Promised Land is founded.
So what was it? Was it a big, thriving city?
Not at all, and that was the point. Historians call them freedom colonies. It wasn't wealthy. It was just what the book calls negative space on a map.
Negative space.
A place where Black families could buy their own land, farm, and just be. A place where you didn't have to step off the sidewalk for a white person because there were no white people there to make you.
It was a sanctuary.
The freedom in that small act was everything.
And this isn't just a random town for the author, for Aaron Robertson. This is personal.
Deeply personal. It's his ancestral home. His father, Dorian, and Aaron himself felt this ache, this pull from their distance from Promised Land while living in Detroit.
Which is where the story goes next. We follow the family's path, which mirrors the Great Migration.
Exactly. Millions of African Americans leaving the rural South for the industrial North. They're looking for jobs at Ford, chasing that $5 day.
The promise of a middle-class life.
Right. But Detroit was not the Promised Land they were hoping for.
No, the book makes that very clear. It was just a different kind of struggle.
They ended up in segregated neighborhoods like Black Bottom and Paradise Valley, which, despite the names, were overcrowded and tough. The racism was just more structural.
Housing covenants, police brutality.
Yeah. It was in that pressure cooker of a city that we meet the book's central figure, Albert Cleage Jr.
Cleage is. He's
Yeah.
a force of nature in this book.
A singular figure. He starts out as a pretty comfortable pastor. He's from the black bourgeoisie,
Okay, bourgeoisie. Let's just quickly define that.
basically the black middle or upper middle class. Educated professionals, doctors, lawyers. Cleage was light-skinned, well-dressed. He could have just had a quiet, comfortable life.
But that's not what happened.
No. He was radicalized by what he saw in Detroit. He realized that the main goal of the civil rights movement integration, it just wasn't working for the poorest people. He felt they were just trying to fit into a rigged game.
So he pivots hard.
He moves away from integration and fully embraces black nationalism. And it's not just political, it's theological. This is what leads to the Shrine of the Black Madonna.
This is such a pivotal moment. Cleage starts preaching this incredibly radical idea.
He argues that the Jesus of European art, the white blonde-haired man, is a lie. He says that Jesus was actually a black revolutionary zealot fighting Roman oppression.
And he didn't mean that as a metaphor, did he?
No, he meant it literally. Historically, the people of that region would have been people of color. But the psychological point was the most important thing for him.
The idea that if you're a black person worshiping a white god,
You are psychologically enslaving yourself to your oppressor. To break that mental chain, you need a new image. You need a God that looks like you.
which brings us to the mural. This part of the book reads like a movie.
It's 1967. The Detroit Rebellion has just torn the city apart. And inside his church, Cleage unveils this massive 18-foot-tall painting.
The Black Madonna and Child.
But the artist is just as important. A man named Glanton Dowdell.
And he was not from Cleage's world at all.
Not even close. Dowdell was a street guy. He had a criminal record. He'd been in prison. He's the complete opposite of the polished Reverend Cleage.
And it's that collision of two worlds that creates this powerful symbol.
Absolutely. The unveiling of that mural was a profound act of iconoclasm.
Iconoclasm, let's define that one.
It just means destroying or rejecting established religious icons. We think of it as smashing statues, but here it was psychological. They were smashing the image of a white god to free the minds of the community.
It's so much more than just redecorating the church.
So much more. And that was just the start. He wanted to change how people live their lives, minute by minute. Which gets us to his ideas on time rituals.
This part of the book was mind-bending for me. It feels so relevant right now.
It's a really deep insight. Cleage believed that the whole 9-to-5 work week was a form of slave culture.
Which at first sounds extreme.
But think about it. If you spend the best hours of your day building wealth for a white-owned corporation on their schedule, whose time is it really? Your life energy is serving a system that doesn't care about you.
So what's the solution? You can't just quit your job.
You build your own institutions. The shrine became more than a church. It was a counterstructure. They started their own grocery stores, schools, communal housing.
Taking back control of their time and their money.
Exactly. And they were very serious about this with the kids. They created something called the Mtoto House.
Mtoto is Swahili for child, right?
Yes. It was a communal child-rearing center. The idea was to shield the kids from the brainwashing of the outside world.
Okay, but I have to ask. Communal living, separating kids from mainstream society, doesn't that start to sound a little culty?
It absolutely walks that line, and the book is honest about that. But the motivation was protection. They believed public schools would teach their children to be second-class citizens, to have a slave mentality.
So it was a defensive move.
A survival strategy.
Yeah.
And for inspiration on how to do this, Cleage looked to a really surprising place. He looked to Israel.
That completely threw me. A black nationalist leader in Detroit looking at the Zionist movement.
It seems strange to us now, but at the time, Cleage really admired the Israeli kibbutz.
What exactly is a kibbutz, for anyone who might not know?
It's a collective community in Israel, usually a farm, where everything is shared. People work together, eat together. It's all for the group. Cleage saw how they built a nation from scratch, and he wanted black kibbutzniks.
He saw a blueprint for economic self-sufficiency.
He realized you can't have political power if you don't control your own food supply. And that obsession leads them to Beulah land.
This brings us almost to the present day, 1999.
That's right. The shrine bought a massive piece of land in South Carolina, almost 4,000 acres.
And the irony there is, it's just staggering.
It's unavoidable. They bought a former slave plantation.
Wow.
They wanted to turn the very soil that was the site of their ancestors' oppression into the foundation for Black Utopia.
That's powerful. The goal was to grow their own food, right? To feed the congregations in Detroit and Atlanta.
Yes, to get out from under what Cleage called the world system.
By which he meant the white-dominated capitalist economy.
Exactly. If you depend on their trucks and their grocery stores, you're always vulnerable. Beulah land was meant to be the answer.
But the book does this amazing thing. It takes these huge historical movements and puts them right next to something incredibly personal. The author's father, Dorian.
And this is really the heart of the book. It grounds everything. As Aaron Robertson is researching these utopias, he's corresponding with his father, who is in prison.
And these letters are they're so raw and philosophical.
Dorian's letters become a way to explore that gap between the dream and the reality. The gap between what could have been and what is.
It's like a parallel, isn't it? The grand attempt to remake society and one man's personal attempt to remake his own life.
It is. Both are utopian acts. Believing you can fix what's broken, whether it's a racist society or a life that's gone off the rails. It's the audacity of believing a better version is possible.
And that really connects to the present day. The book isn't just history. He's writing this with George Floyd and the Charleston church shooting in his mind.
That context is crucial because it shows that the search for a safe Black space, for a utopia, isn't some historical hobby.
It's an ongoing need.
When a white supremacist like Dylan Roof can walk into a church during Bible study and murder 9 people, it proves that no space is automatically safe.
You can do everything right, and the violence can still find you.
Which makes creating a utopia a survival necessity. And the book makes this chilling point. Dylan Roof and other white nationalists, they have their own utopian visions too.
An all-white nation.
Yeah, their own twisted paradise. And these two utopias, one for survival, one for violent exclusion, are in direct conflict.
That really raises the stakes on everything we've been talking about.
It absolutely does.
So after all this, where does it leave us? Have they achieved utopia?
Well, according to Robertson's definition, you never achieve utopia.
Yeah.
It's not a finish line. The book ends with this idea of utopia as a crossroads, a constant striving.
And he uses that beautiful phrase, decorating the deprivations.
I love that phrase. It means you take a situation where you've been deprived of everything, and you find a way to make it beautiful, to make it livable, to build a future out of the ruins. That's the work.
It's not about waiting for a perfect world. It's about making a pocket of perfection right now.
That's the essence of it. Making a way out of no way.
Well, that is a powerful place to end. The Black Utopians by Aaron Robertson is a book that will absolutely stay with you.
It really will. It just challenges you on every level.
We want to thank you again for tuning in to the Mini Book Podcast, African American Books Edition. If this discussion resonated with you, please go out and buy the book.
Supporting authors like Aaron Robertson is how these vital stories keep getting told. And please, consider subscribing to our show for more like this.
And we really want to hear from you. Tell your friends and family about us and head down to the comments. Let us know what specific books you'd like to hear us cover in the future.
Thank you for subscribing and for listening.
Until next time.